So, let's see how we're doing here. All right. Cool, and that shows that I'm live. That's awesome. My channel, 0 viewers. Got 2 followers. Live stream info. No. Okay, so I can change the title of my stream. So title your stream. Okay, so I'm in here. So this session, Okay, so I can watch my stream on here and see if I can hear my voice now. It's delayed by about 20 seconds or so. Okay, so I can watch my stream on here to see if I can hear my voice now. It's delayed by about 20 seconds or so. Boy, that's plenty loud. Okay, so I can watch my stream on here to see if I can hear my voice now. It's delayed by about 20 seconds or so. Boy, that's plenty loud. Okay, so I should stop doing this. I need to stop doing it. Okay, I have 2 viewers right now. Who's viewing? Please don't not watch it. Stream manager. It says I have 2 viewers. Are you one of my viewers, Brother Jeff? Okay, so I'll put my headphones back on. I think my microphone is probably plenty loud. I'm actually using my my Yeti for the microphone this time. Alright, well I guess I'll go ahead and get taxi clearance.
Recommend ground, Beach, November 209er Kilo, ready to taxi IFR. Beach, November 209er Kilo, taxi 2 and hold short of runway 21 right using taxiway Echo Alpha. Contact tower on 118.1 when ready. Taxi hold short runway 21 right using taxiway Echo Alpha. Beach, November 209er Kilo.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start my taxi. This is Tocumen International Airport in Panama. This is actually the end of a flight that I did from Port Angeles, Washington, all the way down to the tip of South America, and now I'm coming back. This is my Beechcraft Baron. This is my favorite light aircraft of all time. I'm glad the mic sounds good. The Yeti is really where it's at. But anyway, that's like a 7,000 mile 7,000 mile flight from Washington to the tip of South America. So obviously, in a little guy like this, we don't have that kind of range to make that flight in one trip. So we do it in several trips. This plane's got a range of about 1,000 nautical miles. So we're taxiing to the runway right now, obviously. This is we're not driving back to Washington. So what we're gonna do is, this is going to be kind of a short flight. It's about 500 nautical miles, and I'm going to use time compression once we get airborne, so that it doesn't take as long to get there. But we're going to be flying to Toncontín International in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. It's one of the most dangerous airports in the world. It's got one of the craziest approaches that there is. I've flown in there several times. I've never had any incident. But the weather is obviously not good here. The weather report said that it's VFR up at Toncontín, so I'm hoping that by the time we get there, that that the weather is still good. We are flying IFR though, so we can fly through the clouds and everything, and we'll be just fine. So we're going to be flying on instruments, mostly. So I'm going to go ahead and do my run up really quick, set my parking brake. Alright, make sure everything is set for takeoff, so I actually like my elevator trim to be zeroed out. I'm going to make sure that cowl flaps are open. They are. Okay, we're going to go ahead and run the engines up to about 1700 RPM. We're going to go ahead and do the mag check and watch both RPM gauges. Make sure that we don't have more than 150 RPM drop. No more than 50 RPM difference between the two. Okay, so that's good. Make sure that prop feather works. It does. Alright, let's go ahead and get takeoff clearance. Turn on fuel pumps, turn on landing lights, strobes. Alright, we're cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 21 right, beach, November 209 kilo.
Alright. So this is definitely different than airliner flying. This is much more much less automated. So it's good to keep your practice up flying these. Okie doke. Here we go. Full throttle, and we're looking for 85 knots. The wind is sucky right now. Buffeting around. Yeah, this is not good weather. Okay, we are airborne, and I raise the gear. Okay, and we're looking for about 104 knots. Whoa. You really feel the air in a little plane like this. It is bumpy.
09 kilo, contact departure on 119.7. 119.7, beach 09 kilo. Departure, beach,
All right. since we don't have any obstacles, I'm just going to kind of go to climb speed now and pull the power back. Boy, there is not going to be a whole lot to see. Okay, I'll pull the RPM back to 2500. Alright, we'll start a cruise climb here. Alright, so our first waypoint we're going to hit in about 7 minutes. Anyway, you don't have to watch this whole thing, brother. I just wanted to make sure that I had a good balance between the between the sound output from the computer and my mic. This is seriously boring stuff for people that aren't aviation nerds. So I don't know. You could also stick around and learn something. So we're flying completely on instruments right now. Obviously, I can't really see out. I can't see out the aircraft right now. Turbulence is really bad, so I'm just watching my artificial horizon. Keep the wings level, and you can see the vertical speed indicator is jumping all over the place because we're getting thrashed up and down. So this isn't. This would not be super comfortable. We're going to climb up to about 10,000 feet, and I'm going to hope that the bumpiness kind of calms down. It looks like, yeah, I think we're going to punch out of the clouds pretty quick here. Alright, we're flying completely under manual control right now. I love that. Punching through the clouds. It's so magical. But we will still get rain for quite a while, even though it looks like we're kind of above the clouds a little bit. Because this is not... it's not 100%. Oh, yeah, because you can see the real-time weather generation that I use. It is accurate, but it's not smooth. So clouds will suddenly jump around as the weather info updates. But otherwise, this is pretty accurate. I like flying with real-time weather. It can add a bit of a challenge. Okay, whew. We're getting out of that turbulence now. Oh yeah, much more smooth now. Okay. All right, the throttle is maxed out. We're coming up on 6,000 feet here, and we're cleared to 8,000. But air traffic control hopefully will clear me up to 10,000, which is what I planned fuel for. But that's why we carry reserve fuel. I kind of cut the fuel kind of close with the bearing because it actually it has an amazing fuel capacity. It holds about 200 gallons of gas when it's fully loaded, and that weighs a lot. So I like to plan my fuel usage as I like to cut it as close as I can while still staying within the 45-minute IFR reserve, which of course I accounted for that as well. I always do. Sorry, what's coming out of my mouth right now is probably not super cohesive because I'm paying attention to flying the plane right now. So I'm kind of rambling a bit. Anyway, so this is Panama. This is... you should be able to see the famous canal. The Panama Canal. Off to our right here pretty soon. I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing here. Because we're gonna need a turn soon, and we're gonna get we should get clearance to 10,000 feet in just a second here. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and switch this over to 10,000 feet. My altitude alerter. And then once we get up to 10,000 feet, I'll turn the autopilot on, and yeah. Okay, that's our clearance to 10,000. Okay, so I'm watching the GPS for navigation, so we're gonna make a sharp right turn here pretty quick. Let me actually switch over to GPS control. Yeah, you can see the channel locks for the Panama Canal right down there. We were actually flying over a cruise ship down there. They're not the best graphics in the world, and I know that Flight Sim 2020, the one that just came out, blows these graphics out of the water. But I've got such love for Flight Sim 2004, and I've got a lot of money invested in add-ons for it, so I'm gonna stick with this for the foreseeable future. I mean, I've stuck with it for the past 20 years, so. Alright, let's turn this to the right a bit here. Okay, good. So the waypoint updated. And now the white line down there has turned pink, so that's our active route now. Okay, I'm going to climb at about 500 feet per minute now, so we're starting our level off. We're at 9,500 feet now. So we'll start picking up speed. Oh, well, I should turn my fuel pumps off. Turn the HSI to follow our new path. Alright, 10,000 feet, I'm going to go ahead and engage the autopilot. Turn on navigation hold. Now the airplane will fly the rest of the route for us, so that I don't have to sit here for 4 hours. Holding the airplane, which is nice to be able to just kind of sit back and let the plane do its thing and just navigate. I'm actually going to get us 10,100 feet because the AI air traffic control is terrible. You can hear it keeps switching us back and forth between these two frequencies. That's because I'm hovering right at 10,000 feet, which is basically the transition altitude between the control centers, so it's really annoying. It's basically alternating between departure control and center control, because 10,000 feet is where that switchover occurs, because you can see we're still in Panama airspace if you look at the, that's what that arc right there is. So if we're under 10,000 feet inside of that airspace there, it's going to want us to talk to Panama departure control. So when it's hovering right on the edge of 10,000 feet, right there, it keeps switching me back and forth between the two channels because it doesn't understand what's going on because it's stupid. Alright, so let's go ahead and set cruise power. So I want 2300 RPM. And full throttle. And that's getting us 11.7 gallons per hour per engine, which is pretty good, and we are making 185 knots over the ground right now. I planned for 188, so, 186 over the ground, so I'm going to pat myself on the back for accurate flight planning. Okay, let's take a look outside of this gorgeous creature. Alright, so this is it's a Beechcraft Baron. Oh, sorry, hold on. That's us. Pretending I have a virtual co-pilot to change my frequencies for me, so I don't have to do it myself. But anyway, this plane is definitely... Okay, this plane is definitely the upper echelon of light aircraft. You want to buy one of these brand new from Beechcraft these days, they go for over 1.5 million. This is a representation of like a late 90s, early 2000s model. It has, the old-fashioned gyro instruments instead of the glass cockpit, which I think is charming. I love glass cockpits for airliners, but I really enjoy having the good old-fashioned gauges for aircraft like this. But anyway, yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite planes ever. I have thousands of hours, simulated hours, of course, in this aircraft. I'm very, very comfortable with it. I think it's beautiful. It's fast. It's not super economical. Because it's got two engines, but having the two engines gives it not only higher speed capabilities, but also I lost my train of thought. But also greater reliability, especially if you're going to be doing long flights over water. It's good to have an aircraft that's got two engines in case you lose one, or flying over mountainous terrain or anything like that. This is about the fastest. Bless you. This is about the fastest you can go in an aircraft of this class before you're upgrading to a turboprop or something like this. Something like that. It can like max cruise. You can get over 200 knots out of it, about 202 knots, which is close to like 230 miles an hour or so. So it's pretty swift as far as a prop-driven aircraft goes. Anyway, I said that I was going to use time compression. So I'm going to do that. We're now moving 16 times faster. And this is one of the reasons that I'm using the autopilot for this, is because um, with it sped up 16 times faster, that means, oh, sorry, hold on.
November 209er Kilo, Panama Center, Roger. Current altimeter 2974.
2974. What was I saying? I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, it magnifies your control inputs by that same factor. So I've got this set to 16 times actual speed. So that means that all my flight controls would be 16 times more sensitive, and that is a great way to instantaneously fly yourself right into the ground. So keep the autopilot on for this. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our route on the GPS. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're coming up on our next waypoint here. Okay, so we're coming out across this gulf here, so we're going to be over open water for a little while, but then we're going to come back back over land and come into Honduras. And yeah, and then Toncontín is right up here at the end, so that's going to be our destination, and it's always very interesting flying into there, because it's like I said before, it's a very tricky approach. If you haven't seen the approach to Toncontín, it's pretty hair-raising. It's always listed on any of those lists of the world's most dangerous airports. Yet they fly airliners in there every day, and they very rarely have any kind of issues. You actually need a special checkout rating in order to operate aircraft in and out of Toncontín because of the unique challenge. So any pilots that, if you were ever to fly into Toncontín, whoever's flying your plane is an extremely qualified pilot. Dum de dum dum dum. So yeah, I am really hoping that the weather's good at Toncontín, because it's scary flying in there when you can see. So flying in there when you can't is getting handoff to Central America Center. That's probably generic, but 2978. So anyway, if I'm going to do some quick lip service for this product that I'm flying, this is Carenado's model of the Beechcraft Baron 58. Carenado is well known for having some of the most amazing visual models for aircraft, especially light aircraft. I think they're second to none when it comes to the accuracy of the visual representation of the aircraft. As far as the actual flight dynamics go, that can be a little iffy, but I think that's true for any manufacturer of these products, especially using using a physics engine like Flight Sim 2004 has. It's not top of the line by any means anymore. So it's like it's amazing that they still make high-end add-ons for it like this, you know, even like 20 years on, but it's like the technology of the add-ons that they can produce for it is like, you know, it's beyond what the physics engine of FS 2004 can handle. So it sounds like I'm ragging on FS 2004, but I'm really not. I mean, what the heck was that? I really love Flight Sim 2004. I mean, there's such a special place, soft spot in my heart for it. But I end up doing a lot of custom flight dynamics programming myself. You know, I actually get the real pilot's operating handbooks for all of these, for virtually all of the aircraft that I fly, and I go under the hood into the configuration files and the air files and stuff like that, and I reprogram them myself to settings which I feel are a little bit more realistic. So my flight dynamics edits usually nail the numbers that you find in the pilot's operating handbooks. My planes fly like they're supposed to. Okay. So let's go back and look up here. So we're getting pretty close, actually. I love time acceleration. It helps so much. Okay, so you can see that we're going to hit the Mike Golf Alpha VOR right here, and then fly to the Berta intersection, and then that is where we're going to break off of the airway that we're on right now, and head for our approach fix for Toncontin. So eventually we'll get back home. Eventually we'll get back to Port Angeles, Washington, which is where I've decided this aircraft is based. Looks like I'm still streaming. That's amazing. I think this is really working. Let's see. Oh. Okay. Central Iowa. Yeah. Okay, I'm slowing time acceleration back down. We're in some pretty heavy turbulence again. I just want to assess the situation here. A pretty good tailwind. 193 knots over the ground, which is more than I planned for. And then let's see how we are doing. Got 58 gallons remaining, which is good because we're definitely most of the way there, and I just want to make sure that I have 26 gallons in the tank for landing. At least 26 gallons in the tank. Okay, so anyway, so my stream manager says I've got one viewer. I think it's probably me because I have a window open. So I'm probably talking to myself at this point. But whatever, someone might watch this again after the fact. It'll be up for 2 weeks before Twitch takes it down because I refuse to pay for a premium account yet. Okay, I'm going to turn time acceleration back up. Yeah, hand off, okay. Yeah. It's so annoying. This is terrible.
Central Beach, November 20
Okay.
Kilo, Central American Center, Roger, altimeter 2970.
Alright, we're out of that airspace now, thank God. Okay, and when they start giving me approach vectors, I'm going to go back down, slow back down to real time. Oy. Oh, there we go. There we are.
Turn right, heading 145, climb and maintain flight level 330, also 319er.
Okay, so I didn't hear the approach.
Central American
Hold on.
Center, H09er Kilo. I didn't copy that. Say again, please. H09er Kilo, you're 89er miles southeast. Turn right, heading 360. Expect vectors, visual. Runway 2, approach.
Okay, man, we're gonna get the runway 2 approach. That is the scary one. That's awesome.
Turn right, heading 360. Expect vectors, visual. Runway
Okay,
2,
so heading 360. Alright. Yeah, so this is gonna be fun. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom back in. Alright, so we are leaving our flight path, or the one that we pre-programmed. We're going to start taking our vectors from ATC at this point. So let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and change my direct to, oh god. Change my direct to Tonkantine so we can keep a better eye on it. Okay, and I'm going to go to 4 times acceleration because we're about a half an hour out, and I'm not going to sit here for the whole half hour. I mean, I probably would if I wasn't streaming this, but it's like I don't want to completely bore everyone to death. This approach is going to be crazy. Oh, that's us. Turn left heading 330. 330. So the reason that Tonkantine is such a dangerous airport is because it is
turn left heading 115, resume on navigation. Turn left heading 115, resume on navigation. Also 319er.
sorry, we have to listen to him talk to other airplanes now. Anyway, but there are several reasons that it's so dangerous, but it is surrounded by mountains. It's kind of down in just a little depression in the mountains, and it's quite high. The elevation of the airport is quite high, and it has a relatively short runway. So the higher you are, the thinner the air is, and the worse your plane performs, basically. So the higher the airport is, the longer it's going to take for you to take off, and your approach speeds are going to be are going to be higher because of course you're maintaining the same indicated airspeed, but because the air is thinner, your true airspeed is going to be higher. So yeah, it's like your plane is not actually, it's not developing the amount of power that it would at sea level, and you're moving faster, and it's a complicated approach to keep from slamming into a mountain. So you got to really be on your toes, especially on the runway 2 approach. The runway 20 approach is a little more open, a little more of a straight shot. Or do I have that backwards? No, I don't have that backwards. Yeah, the runway 2 approach. It's been a while since I've flown into Toncontin, so. Yeah, the runway 2 approach is the scary one, and that's what we're going to do. Oh, I need a time acceleration back up. Let's go to 8 times. Speed things along a bit here.
H09er Kilo, you are 400 above your assigned H09er Kilo. Did you hear my last transmission?
Yeah.
10,000. H09er Kilo.
Well, it looks like we got thunderstorms up here too, so.
H09er Kilo, descend 265, turn left heading 085, descend and maintain flight level 31, turn left
So
heading
let's see what they're saying to
065,
me.
and maintain flight level 310, 265, Central America Center, H09er Kilo. I didn't copy that, say again please. H09er Kilo, descend and maintain 6,900.
6,900.
Descend and maintain 6,900. H09er Kilo.
And we're going to start a 500 foot per minute descent. Going to set the props to 2,500 RPM. And we'll start throttling back to maintain 170 knots once we've sped up to 170 knots.
H09er Kilo, please expedite your descent to 6,900.
I am. Okay, so I'm going to set my HSI for heading 020, just as a nice little visual reference for the runway. Okay, we're going to start pulling the power back a bit.
Expedite your descent to 6,900.
Let's get another outside look, huh?
265, turn right heading
Beautiful plane.
115, resume on navigation. Turn right heading 115, proceed on course. 265.
I love it. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Boy, who even knows? Forget that. Throttle back a little more. Oh, and for any trolls that might ever comment in the comments section here on Twitch or when this video is on YouTube, yeah, I realize that I'm not using the mixture controls. I have auto mixture on. I'm not bashful about the fact that I didn't want to deal with it during this stream. I'm new to streaming and having everything going, so that's just one thing I didn't want to deal with. So I don't have to defend myself to you. This isn't even intended to be any kind of a procedurally correct simulation. This is just having fun. While still flying safe. Oh, let me speed it up again. Now they want me to climb and maintain 7,500. See, the... the air traffic control in this is just... it's terrible. It's terrible. So I've got to increase the throttle for a climb. What I should have done was just ignored ATC and flown off an approach plate. Now they say descend and maintain 6,700. I'm livid. And it's really bumpy again. So we gotta pull the power back again. On continue approach.
Altimeter 3017.
3017.
Kilo. Turn left heading 315.
Left heading 315.
315. Beach 09 Kilo. Beach 09 Kilo. Turn left heading 285.
285. Make up your mind.
Turn left heading 285. Beach 09 Kilo.
Yeah, see, so what they're trying to do here is set me up on just a regular approach. They're putting me on a base leg and they think I'm just going to fly a regular final approach into runway 2, and I'm most certainly not going to do that. Because that is, I don't think it's even possible. As much as I'm complaining, I still love doing this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let the plane slow down to about 150 knots, and that is going to be our operating speed here in the approach, because 152 knots is the maximum speed at which I can extend my landing gear safely, and my approach flaps. So, I like to cruise around on the approach at about 150 knots, so that when I put my landing gear and my approach flaps down, that kind of naturally starts to slow me down towards final approach speed. And 150 knots will essentially keep you up. With most other aircraft that might be operating in the vicinity at these altitudes. Well, most jets on the approach are going to be operating more like 170 or so, but that's still a heck of a lot better than like 80 knots in a 172 or something.
H09 kilo, turn right, heading 350. Turn right, heading 350.
Turn right, heading 350. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably just gonna go ahead and fly right over the top of the airport and then come loop back around and fly the approach properly. It would show you actually who your viewers are. It doesn't. Yeah, I think I'm the only one here.
H09 kilo, airport is at your 1 o'clock, 11 miles. Turn right, heading 015. Report runway in sight. Turn right, heading 015.
Okay, so I am going to turn heading 015, but I'm going to overfly the airport and come back, just like I said. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll be able to make a visual approach. Okay.
H09 kilo, you're 300 below your flight altitude.
There it is right down there.
Runway 2. Altimeter 2, 901.
But yeah, this is...
0, 9 kilo, cleared to land, runway 2. Fly straight in, runway 2. Beach 0, 9 kilo.
Yeah, because we got that hill right in front of the runway, so that it makes it really hard to try and just do a regular old straight in approach. So you fly a descending circle kind of around these hills right here. It's less of an issue in an aircraft this size. But in an airliner, or bigger, heavier aircraft, you definitely can't fly it straight in. So we are going to make a slow descending loop around this hill right here. They are going to tell me to go around, I'm sure. Which is exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so let me pull the approach plate up on my phone. North RNAV arrival, West RNAV arrival, those don't apply to us. Actually, 8,000 feet. Okay, so our ground speed is going to be around 100, so our descent is going to need to be about 600 feet per minute. So we should go ahead and climb to about 7,000 feet to start this approach. There's only a 300-foot difference. Let me confirm the altimeter setting at the airport. Is 29.91 inches. Okay, we're going to keep that as is. it's super big for my eyes, which apparently just don't work anymore. Okay. That's what I wanted. Pardon me, that was terrible. I apologize. Alright, so let's go ahead and set this for 600 feet per minute. Approach flaps down. Alright, I'm under full manual control again. Descending very slowly. Keep your eyes on the sky. Phone for a second and started climbing. But got my speed about where I want it to be. Hovering right about 120 or so, which that's going to be our next important speed, because that's where we can go to full flaps. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my auxiliary fuel pumps now. Getting a lot of updrafts from being close to the hills here. So 3,300 feet is going to be our airport elevation. So we got a ways to go. Alright, it's just so I'm not dealing with it right at the end, I'm going to go ahead and put the props full forward. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, look up on YouTube, just look up Tonkantine Approach, and you'll see basically exactly what we're looking at right now. Very close to the hills, but in a much larger, much faster aircraft. It's even scarier than this. Alright, so I can see the airport. Right there. Right there. So it's just this very slow descending turn through the hills here. Trying to always keep a visual on where the airport is. Help us judge our altitude. So we'll keep right about 500, 600 foot per minute descent. Try to keep our speed stabilized right here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the gear down. My last notch of flaps. Start slowing down, steepening our descent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the cowl flaps. And now, I'm going to try to get approach speed. About 95 knots or so. Man, this is hair raising. Knots. I'm going to give us just a little bit more power. And if it looks like we're close to this building, it's because we are. Alright, here we go. Man, I'm totally okay with this. Admittedly, not my best landing ever. And generally, if you float too much at this airport, whoa, that was lightning. You'd want to do a go around. But I know exactly what this plane can and can't do, and I know that we have more than enough runway to stop. Again, the real peril at this airport is more with the larger aircraft. I am able, and that white building there is the old terminal. Okay, let me go ahead and turn off the taxi lights, turn off my landing lights, turn on my taxis, turn off my strobe, turn off my pitot heat, turn off those guys. Alright, so let's see where they're going to put me. Let's taxi to parking. Anyway, what was I rambling on about? Yeah, had I floated that much in like a 737 or something like that, certainly I would have gone around. I'm no fool. In a plane like that, you know, you're talking about 150,000 pounds of metal touching down at about 140 knots, trying to get slowed down in about 5,000 feet. So yeah, you gotta hit that touchdown zone flawlessly. Whereas I'm touching down at 80 to 85 knots with about 5,000 pounds worth of airplane. With really good brakes. This is the new terminal. Yeah, I'm a little upset with that landing. It's a hard approach, folks. It's a hard approach. So let's cozy up to this fence here. Wow, there are no planes here. I'm the only one. Okay, well, let's go ahead and secure the aircraft. Taxi lights off. Avionics are off. Pull the mixtures out. Mags off. Alternators off. Master switch off. All right, welcome to Tonkin. We made it. Whoa, that's a terrible little cart in the way there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the latest leg of my flight from South America back to Washington. You haven't been with me for the rest of the trip, except perhaps in my hearts. Anyway, I don't know if you'll be with me for the next leg. I don't know when I'll fly the next leg. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. Let me see if I can remotely turn off my stream from my phone. Ho ho ho. Well, I don't think I can I? No, I have to stop it from here. Stop it from OBS. Stop streaming. Alright, goodbye.